For new people here, this is Baggio. This is my friend. He was my West Point classmate and then also my local jiu-jitsu teammate over here in Phoenix. But for the people that don't know Baggio, please tell me a little bit about yourself. What got you into real estate and what's your specialty inside of the scene?
Yeah, I like to say kind of like a lot of other people with things, you stumble upon it. I never saw myself as like getting into especially the, sales side, realtor side of real estate, but I basically started as I was getting out of the army at JBLM. So I actually see all the stuff behind you too. That's why I laughed
Yeah.
because you seeing the strikers behind because I
Yeah.
was on like the maintenance side for my PL time, and I'm like I hated those things. Um, it was just I was part of one of the BCTs up there, and then went over to first group, same base. As I was getting out, uh, it's when we had our daughter, so second kid, two kids. And then, yeah, actually, another one of our classmates, Javon, he was my realtor when we were doing a sell and buy up there, to get a bigger house for the family. And then, honestly, I can't even remember. I can't even remember the actual conversation of how that came about, but I just remembered he was expanding his team,
Mhm.
and I was in that point of like, what do I do next? And him and I got along,
Yeah.
and I know that we had a mutual trust.
Uh-huh.
Um, whether it's West Point or not, or just obviously me already being his client, and he was a football player, I was a baseball player, and
Yep.
like so one thing led to another. I was taking the test, got my test, got my license and everything. As like I said, I was still active. There's about like a 7, 8 month period where I was transitioning out of the military, but also doing real estate already. So,
Yeah.
um, and then that was just when the market was hot. So it was just like hit the ground running and it was going. So helping his guys out, helping his team out. And yeah, that's how real estate started. Um, just fell in love with the process of just, like I said, it's like at that point I knew, okay, maybe I don't know if I could ever go back to let's just say a W-2 job or
Mhm.
like knowing my 9 to 5 is going to be pretty much the same, you
Yeah.
know, I couldn't go back to that. I think that's what I liked about it too with real estate was like every deal, every transaction, every single one can be different, good or bad. There's there's ways where it can go sideways but like I liked that mix up and just kind of working through problem solving for people, finding ways for people, because honestly that's ultimately where you show your value on my side, is
Yeah.
can I get the job done in a different way? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I know that's a long-winded answer, but long story short, then too, last thing is moved from Washington to Arizona, and then that's how we met, right? So,
Yep.
uh, yeah,
Man, I gotta send this to Javon, but I don't have many regrets in life. But one of my regrets was not getting started when I was at JBLM. So he reached out to me too when I was just getting started, but I was so deep inside of Sapper School and like wanting to go all the schools and stuff that I cut it off. I was like, no way, man, I don't want to get into this. I'm too busy. I got an FTX coming up, and then 3 days or 3 years later, like all my friends have $100,000 of equity in their house, and I'm just like, damn it, should have got
that's
started. But
and that's how it happened. Like that's actually like how I fell in love with it more too, though.
mm,
Like, that's what my wife brought out of me, maybe, I guess, because it's funny because she'll say her side where she came from was always renovating, like doing stuff around the house.
mhm.
Her dad did a lot of that, taught me a lot of it. My side, we didn't really do that. You know what I mean? We really never saw a house that way, and um, our first house was right there outside of base, and
Mhm.
like we basically did a live-in flip. We did it for both houses that we had. Um, quickly saw just like the value in that, not
Yeah.
just financially, but even just, hey, you can create create the life you want in a way, right? Even as simple as your house, like I can change and renovate my house. It doesn't have to be perfect when I buy it.
Yeah.
you know. And same thing, even as, going from on an, for you as an investor standpoint, you have to start having those visions of, you know, that's the beauty of it, of taking something that someone might just glance over that doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't see it, but then you create something out of it, and that is the value you're creating. And then guess what? You get financially compensated towards the end, right?
Hmm.
If you choose, right? Like that's the beauty of real estate is making something out of nothing in a way sometimes,
Yeah.
right? Um, I think that's why you're gonna laugh. My son was watching, I don't know if you remember this Disney Channel movie, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched it. I was watching it. It was where a kid is a baseball player. His dad's all hard on him. He's the coach, like he's a star stud baseball player, but then he
Yeah.
finds a love for cooking and
Okay.
like it's like High School Musical type, right? It's like that era of like, oh, but I want to be a chef, right?
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay.
But that's what he says in there, and I'm like, you know what? That's a good way to put about it. He's like, I don't know why I like it. I like to make something out of nothing. I like to do this. I'm like, okay, so real estate's kind of like being a chef, I guess, in this little Disney movie.
Yeah, I like it.
Like, and because of the curiosity, something's always different. It's just
Hmm.
breaking. It's again, there's struggles and risk. That's the thing is risk reward. People that are, taking more risk are the ones that are getting rewarded more at the end too, right? So, um, yeah, I don't know. I laugh because what do they say? Time in the market beats timing in the market. And so like your
True.
thoughts with Javon back where you're like,
Yeah. Wish I
three
would have
three
started
years ago,
earlier. Wish I would have started
everyone was
earlier, just like jujitsu, man.
everyone says exactly. It's like, all right, well, that was the best time. The second best time is now. So,
Hey, what was your experience when you were at JBLM with mentorship inside of the Army and relating to finance? Because I talked about this a
mhm.
little bit before, but I brought all my plans to, battalion commander, brigade commander, and I was like, yo, like, what should I do? And they helped me shape a lot of my initial guidance, which was just dollar cost average, S&P 500. And like, they
Yeah.
did have some initial, like, okay, guidance for traditional paths, but I just found it really interesting because I talked to a few lieutenant colonels, retired lieutenant colonels, and they had full-on businesses while they were still a full-on battalion commander, which I found incredibly interesting, mostly on the real estate side. But what was your experience when you were getting started in real estate? Were you shaped at all by military mentors, or was this all AFK, if you will?
And I never really thought of that, I'll be honest with you, but I guess I didn't really seek it out from their side as much.
Yeah,
So I didn't have as much guidance, honestly, per se. I mean, I do think I was very influenced though, just being around those circles and like hearing what other people are investing in and doing in.
sure.
Um, I will credit it back honestly more to like the West Point network.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I know a lot of people got
because
started like right at the rip. They were doing like different syndication circles, getting things together. I
uh,
was actually part of one of those over in Tennessee, so that ended up working great. But yeah, going back to this is not an excuse on my end, but I was so deep in like, okay, I got to go learn how to be lieutenant, got to get into these different schools.
mhm.
So it's just not something I I was ignorant. I was ignorant at the time, and I didn't comprehend.
Yeah, no, I mean me too. I mean I still am, right? Dude, I don't know.
Mhm.
Like sometimes like I'll be the first one to say it's like I don't have anything figured out in a way. Like,
Yeah,
I'll space out sometimes and think of us being on a rock in the middle of space, literally, right? Like
true.
like is this all made up? I don't know. Are we in a simulation? Like I think I go down through those too, but uh no, I will say, I mean, I'll just start like I think back to my childhood, my upbringing. Um, loved the family to death, but like I'd never we there was no talking or nobody around me investing. Like
Mhm.
so when I went to West Point, that's what I'm saying is like, oh shoot, I see this whole other side.
Yeah,
Um, like I didn't grow up like, my parents, busted their ass to just provide everything they could.
Hmm.
and do their best. But like by no means did I come from a wealthy family,
Hmm.
right? Like, people were not around me that had rental properties doing all this and all that.
Hmm.
So I didn't know. But the first time that was happening was, okay, I get around other West Point cadets that had family members or friends already doing that. So
Yep.
speaking to you guys and then seeing ahead, I mean, that's why like the cow loan, right? The Seeing like, oh, take it. For me, in my head, I had to even break out of that being like, well, is a loan? I thought a loan was bad, right?
Yeah, yeah, learning like
Y-
what debt was at that time.
Yeah, yeah, and being like, oh, wait, but that interest is good. You know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
that was the first step. And then next thing you know, you get out, and then that's how I ended up buying my first house. Was I was like, I don't know, I just heard people said it's good just buy your house when you get to your first duty station, right?
Mm. Okay.
So that's how real estate started. It's just like, and it's crazy. That's just why I take such pride in, auditing your circle. Like that's something everyone talks about, right? And
Yeah.
getting around the right people. Because yeah, I don't think I would be where I'm at if I didn't just like go around these circles more, being around these different people more, people that are just like way ahead in other ways of life that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
So
Check
is
this out.
that's West Point one? I mean, as far as military, I guess there was some here or there, but I would always lean back to the West Point. I would.
Yeah. I don't have the Carfax in the study for this one, but it was something along the lines of between your closest friend group, right? Like your six closest friends, your
Mhm.
income like is going to be within 10% of that next person, which is really, really interesting. It just
Yeah.
goes to show like the people you surround you with are going to be pretty adjacent to who you are as a person, especially from a wealth point of view, which is pretty interesting. But okay, so you mentioned you got started in real estate when you first got to your duty station. Did you use the VA loan or did you use a combination of your cow loan too?
No, it's VA loan. I think I still have like some of the cow loan, in a savings account or something to like, I think that helped me cover closing costs or half of it or something. I think I might
Okay.
have gotten like half of them covered by the seller.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was like the only thing I used that aside from that was just VA loan. I mean,
Okay.
and even then, um, I help a lot of first time home buyers too, and a lot of
Mhm.
families moving up. Um, I just remember too, I was like, this is scary because I think my mortgage was coming out to like $600 more than what my BAH was.
Mhm.
Right? And I was like, but again, I have to break out of these. In my head, I was like, the whole time, I have to be within my BAH because that's my housing allowance,
Yeah.
you know? That was like breaking out of that first mindset of like, it's okay to extend and just be better disciplined financially to make this work because it's going to be worth it,
Mhm.
So yeah, that was VA loan. Second one's VA loan. Um, but again, it's just so much of finance, money is so mental, man. Like it's so mindset driven. I mean, your story, that's I think why we connect, because like we're all just doing our best. We're trying, we're figuring it out, right? Trial and error. And like you only as long as you're learning and like
Yeah.
you're refining your sword, like that's because again, it's like we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, it sounds really lame, but like I hate saying it, but like mindset is a large part of wealth. Potentially one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, is really all
Hmm.
about that. Like, what are you putting out there? How well do you know yourself? And that is going to be indicative of where you're going to go, you know? And that
Yeah,
starts, wealth starts in the mind of, I am worthy of this, I am able to do this. And then a lot of times, well, that will come into alignment. But yeah,
yeah.
going back to the cow loan, for those of you guys that don't know, the cow loan is like a career starter loan that we get out of West Point. I think it's around $38,000 at like less than 1% interest. So it's a crazy deal to get started. But
Hmm.
going back in time, Baggio, if you had that loan pop into your lap right now, what would you do with it?
Uh, I'm trying to think what I used it for. I honestly didn't like blow through it crazy or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Um, I would have definitely taken a step back on how much I probably would have put in. Like I put a decent chunk into like a Roth and into like a brokerage account.
Okay.
probably would have like reversed a little bit of what I did there
Hmm.
and looked for some other avenue.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe even kept a little more liquid, you know what I mean? Um, to deploy somewhere else. So that would have probably been one thing. I don't regret like I put a couple grand towards like a trip after we graduated.
Hmm.
But it's because like I didn't have any money. I didn't have, you know what I mean? Like that was the only money I had. So I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
was
I
there
gotta,
sniping like $500 at the end or something like
yeah.
that?
I didn't have any money and like I'm not, there's nothing to ask from like my parents to try to like help me. I was like, no, I can't. You know what I
Uh,
mean? So I was on my own there and did pay for that. What else? We had to pay for our uniforms, all of mandatory stuff. So I thought I probably, you know what? The only other thing was I probably would have gone like a little, I would have probably gotten even more of a like beater first car. Like
mhm.
I would have probably gone uh as cheap as possible looking
Yeah.
back at it. You know what I mean? That probably would have been my only changes. And like I said, it would really just have kept a little more to deploy in a better way. And I'm just not, and I wouldn't have jumped as quickly on the traditional route. So
Dude, that's where I ended up too, because I talked to a lot of people, VPs at companies, presidents and everything. I'm like, hey, what should I do with this loan? I'm not really sure what to do with. And they all came from the Dave Ramsey point of view, like all debt is bad. You shouldn't use this for anything. So I only took what I needed for an expense. I just bought my car. I think it was around $15,000 cash. So that's all I took because you don't have to
yeah,
take the full thing. So I just used that. In hindsight, looking back, if I had the opportunity for almost 40K liquid, I would have just, brought 4 or 5 friends together and said, "Hey, we're going to go on bigger pockets and pick
yeah,
whatever deal up, and we're all going to win." Or I would have put it in a private lending note too and just played arbitrage because when else
yeah,
are you going to have a less than 1% cost of capital, which is nuts. But I always like asking that question. Like
yeah,
I
exactly.
really
Because
wish,
like, damn, so well, we're freaking 10 years
yeah.
removed, basically. Like, of course, we have so many more things now. But
This shit
it
should
is
be
what it
taught,
is.
man. It should be taught. Like this should be
Yeah,
a junior, senior level course. Like we do get a little education. I remember that's when I fell in love, like with compounding interest, and like I went so deep into it, and I thought I was doing the right things. Like, and my strategy showed that. I was saving 50 to 70% of my income per year, so from 17 all the way to now. And just like looking at those Excels when you make the compounding interest calculator, I was like, man, no way, this is crazy. But then, segue into when I found IBC, it was that on a scale of like 100, So transitioning into that, let's talk about how we got into this space together. So tell me a little bit more about your insurance background and where you were before and where you are now with your insight and understanding of everything.
yeah. I mean, so I'd gotten my insurance license too. Some great people that were like setting me up on that route. I think a lot of it had to do with, again, we're trying to do better. You're trying to find other ways. You're hearing about this infinite banking. Hearing about like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? I'm trying to leverage one thing for another, arbitrage. Um, what I will say is like I was hitting it hard for a while as far as going on the insurance side. Well, and then sorry, I'll back step one, two. It also started because I had started our family. We started our family young.
Hmm.
So, I was already going through my head of like, hey, if I'm the provider, if I'm the dad and something happens to me, where do I go about that? So it started with that, right? Because I was like, okay, where's my term insurance at? I need to make sure Maddie and the kids are covered. Because unfortunately, like I lost my dad like 2 months after my first was born,
Oh,
after
damn, I
I,
know that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So like, boom. And that is what
That's what
triggered
triggered
that
the whole thing.
because I
Okay,
was
that
like,
makes a lot of sense.
because
Yep.
my dad died when he was like 47. Like
Wow.
he wasn't old. So um always had in my head, I have a young dad, he's gonna be around a long time, and then boom, life changing, right? So
Mhm.
right after I become a dad, he's gone, and now I'm in here like, okay, I need to make sure like anything can happen. right?
Yeah.
Obviously, and then being in the military too, you just see shit happens, like unfortunately.
We're faced with that reality too, right? Like death is a part of what we do. It's
It
integrated into the
comes,
concept.
yeah.
Like we fight and destroy the enemy. So like death is going to happen and part of
It
that,
was,
truly.
yeah, it was hand in hand, but like you still didn't, I didn't really still, I guess, fully embrace it until I became a dad.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, like I kind of had that kick to the face of like, hey, no, dude, now you are fully responsible for somebody else.
True.
Um, so what do we have? Was it like half a mil, like 500 cans of a life insurance, or
What
400? I
was
think it's
that?
400.
The
400.
SGLI. It's like
Yeah,
450, I think. 450, if I'm not
I think it's
mistaken. That's like the
yeah,
max. I can't remember.
400 or 450. Really cheap life insurance, like cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's funny because now you look, and again, that's why I sat down with those people because I was like, realistically, you need more than that to give to, your wife and kids if something happened, right?
Hmm.
So that's how that started. And then, of course, it was like, hey, I'm already going in real estate, having like the sales background, entrepreneur background, get your insurance license too. It can go hand in hand because, again, it comes from me trying to also be a good like servant because I'm in the shoes of I'm helping a family get probably their biggest asset, right?
Hmm.
Again, if I'm helping a family of four, my family, and get this big house, great house, but I don't at least tell them, hey, like, if you're not covered, dad, like husband, like wife, whoever you guys, what if something happens, right? Like, I don't want to just be the realtor that just hands the key and just say, see you guys later.
Yeah.
That's where this came from. I want to be like, hey, I want to be a resource in other ways,
Yeah.
you know? Um, because I wouldn't want to do that. I would hate to hear, at least I didn't at least try to connect them with something. So, um, all that being said, with insurance, that's then lended to the infinite banking because I'm like, wait, this is if I can also help a real estate investor
Yeah.
in another way too, other than like, okay, here's your hard money guy, here's, we can go creative finance in this route or that route. It's like it's just another tool in the toolkit, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so the one thing I ran into, this was like obviously before you and I started meeting and talking more, was like honestly, I was spread very thin.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I'm trying to build three different businesses at once, and I'm only going like 1 foot deep versus just going all the way in on one.
Hmm.
So I was like, nothing was really growing at a rate that I felt was sustainable or good because I was like, my brain was just scattered.
Yeah.
So until you and I really talked about that insurance, I was a little more on the back burner. I didn't do that much on it. But then once we connected and stuff, I was like, oh wow, I can really tackle this. And then I was in a better spot, real estate wise too, family wise too. Kids a little. Everything is. This is now a good time, right? A lot of it has to do with timing.
Yep.
Um, and so now that we're partnered up and like I feel like there's a great balance on what we can, help with each other and other people.
Yeah, they're very, very complimentary. Like, long story short, on mine, like I used to only be able to do one property per year, but now I could do three properties, even four properties per year based on what I shifted to. And, that's how our businesses are mutually beneficial. But hey, man, that's all we have time for today. We'll pick up next time and talk about the shift of IBC and really get into the weeds on some details that you could do, combining the world of real estate and combining the world of insurance. So I appreciate your time, man, and I'll catch you at the
Mhm.
next one, okay?
Yeah, man.